Alright, last video for 1.6, we're going to talk about um, so adding and subtracting rational numbers is our topic. We've done these in previous videos, written a number in simplest form and as a decimal, and adding rational numbers. We're going to get more practice converting to common denominators, or lowest common multiple of the denominator, when we subtract. So we're going to, we're going to subtract. We're going to subtract rational numbers here. So we're going to fast forward through the stuff that we've covered, and here's our subtracting two fractions. Two fractions or rational numbers. In order to subtract two fractions, again, the denominator must also be the same. Remember, a rational number is a over b, and the denominator here is b. There's our denominator, and the denominators must be the same if we're going to add or subtract. In this case, it's subtract, so we're going to subtract two fractions. If we've got the same denominator, 8ths and 8ths, well, we just go forward and we say that the 8ths are the same. So 7/8 minus 5/8 is, numerators are 7 minus 5 over 8. The 8ths stays the same. 7 minus 5 becomes 2. We reduce 2/8 to 1/4. So there, if the denominators are the same, then it's straightforward. As soon as their denominators are the same, we can just move forward and subtract. But if the denominators are not the same, 4 and 2, we've got to figure out what our lowest common denominator is, or lowest common multiple of 4 and 2. We could probably say that it could be 8. Oh, wait, it could be something different. So let's see if we can use the cake method to determine what it is, to determine what the lowest common multiple is of 4 and 2, lowest common denominator. First, 4 and 2 are both divisible by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And 2 and 1 don't share a common multiple, so our lowest common multiple becomes, lowest common multiple is 2 times 2 equals 4. Alright, so great. So now we're going to convert 2/4. We're going to convert each fraction to fourths. So here's our blue fraction. We're going to convert that one to fourths. Well, we don't need to do anything to it. So really, I mean, you could do the steps and say 4 times 1 gives me 4. 3 times 1 also gives me 3. So 3/4 is 3/4. If we're looking at the red fraction, I'll indicate this one as the red fraction, or the one on the right. 1/2 is how many fourths? Well, let's go through the steps. 2 times 2 gives me 4, so the 1 has to come along. 1 times 2 also gives me 2. 1/2 is 2/4. 2/4 is 1/2 in different form, so now we drop down our minus sign. 3/4 minus 2/4 equals 3 minus 2/4 equals 1/4. Done. And there's our fraction. Sometimes we might have to reduce this fraction just like we had to reduce that fraction, but we don't have to with 1/4 because 1 is prime. Or I guess 1 doesn't have any other factors in it. It's not prime, but it doesn't have any factors in it that are common with 4, so we're done. 1/4 is done. Here's another example to give us more practice with subtracting. Same holds true for addition, because we have to find a common denominator, find a common multiple of 8 and 12. How do we find a common multiple of 8 and 12? I'm going to invite you, I suppose, to pause the video and do this on your own, and then come back and see if you have the same answer that I have. Alright, here we go. Hopefully in red. Lowest common multiple. We need to find the lowest common multiple of 8 and 12 so we can find the lowest common denominator. So let's use our cake method. 8 and 12. What's common between 8 and 12? Each one of them have a 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 4 and 6 each also share another 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 2 and 3 don't share a common factor, so our lowest common multiple, lowest common denominator is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3, or 2 cubed times 3. It's the same thing. 8 times 3, 24. Sometimes it jumps out at you, sometimes it doesn't. So we can now say that our lowest common multiple is 24. What we're trying to do is convert these into 24ths. So I'm going to go and use my blue fraction over here with the 1 on the left and say 8 times what gives me 24. 8 times 3 gives me 24. So 7 has to come along for the ride. 7 times 3 gives me 21. 21 24ths is the same as 7 eighths. 7 eighths is the same as 21 24ths. The reason we're doing this is to convert to a common denominator by finding the common multiple of 8 and 12. All right, oops, hang on a second. Green, please. Let's see if this converts to green. It does. All right. Let's see. I have 12 multiplied by 2 to get me 24. And I've got to bring this 5 along to give me also 5 times 2, 10. Now we just bring the minus sign down. We've converted 5 twelfths into 10 24ths. We've converted 7 eighths into 21 24ths. We have 24th. We have a common denominator. So we have over 24. We have, I suppose I'll put this in black just to be consistent. 21 minus 10 24ths equals 21 minus 10, 11 over 24. 11 is prime, and 11 does not go into 24, so it can't be reduced. After we combine things, we always look to reduce. 11 and 24 don't reduce, so there's our answer, 11 24ths. We did that by converting our 7 eighths and 5 twelfths to a lowest common multiple of 8 and 12, or a lowest common denominator.